Schlock star. When I looked up the word Schlock for its meaning, it sums up everything that the title itself is not giving Blue a break. And while at times that Blue were mostly in the wrong in this episode, I said merely because throughout the majority after that moment, it really gave you the impression that this episode is only existing to have Battle of the Bands, but at the same time, mostly stretched out to 22 minutes. And unlike in the Mondo Coco episode, one character isn't carrying the entire episode while some characters have a few scenes in between. And whenever I watched this episode during my childhood, it's supposed to be about bands facing each other. And yet at the same time, when it was escalated to that, it didn't feel earned because, in all honesty, no one is listening to Blue way worse than Blue not listening to Pizza Party, not wanting Blue to be in the band since that he wasn't invited to the band to begin with. Blue wakes up due to the loud music coming from the garage, and after witnessing Pizza Party, he was thrilled that he wants to join the group, but at the same time he joins in without anyone else's permission, and this leads to everyone being furious at Blue. This is the only scene where Blue is definitely in the wrong while Pizza Party have every right to kick Blue out. However, it doesn't change the fact that what ends up happening afterwards, Mac is willing to have Pizza Party have their own CT and merchandise since that they're really performing really good. And while Blue gets extremely upset that he wants to form his own band with Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco, but due to the Sherlock, it's not working out. And the fact that he is just missing the point on starting the band. Mainly making the band to work for his own knowledge, which is really low when it comes to his IQ. And with how the other characters aren't just into the ideal of being in the band, honestly, it kind of makes sense onto why they didn't become a band after this episode due to what ended up happening in the ending of this episode, but at the same time, I also have issues with that. The issue that people just don't see in this is that whenever Blue talks, when they listen to some information that they will enjoy themselves, like Battle of the Bands, even though that Blue wants a difference, that he wants to face off Pizza Party, they don't listen to him as much as he doesn't listen to them. Since that does happen on occasions throughout this show, that Blue doesn't listen to anyone, this is literally the wall reversal, but at the same time, it just showcases that Blue is being put in the dark, and him being considered a Sherlock star isn't really humorous or just showcasing the type of character he is, because in Season 5, 3 years when this show got older by the time this episode aired, it's becoming less of a compliment just to witness Blue go through the same routine that we've seen so many times in the past and even future. Like, with Blue thinking that forming a band is enough and he didn't come up with a song unlike Pizza Party, showcases of how little care there is to put in Blue's character, and what he did in the beginning of the episode is no longer him to learn from it, since that it's no longer an issue with everyone else, because with the majority of the episode just showcasing Blue just wanting to be part of a band, and then when he makes his own band with Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco, and they're really off sync with the instruments, and all that Blue need to do is usually it's just mostly different words while acting out by using an invisible guitar. Honestly, when I remember this part of the episode where Blue didn't have anyone around him, it felt too juvenile for me to consider on what I really enjoyed from this part of the episode during my childhood, because the fact that this just leads to Wilt, Coco, and Waldo and Pizza Party joining in, which also includes Mac to help out Blue, and this leads to the ending while Frankie forbids any more consoles because Blue has been using so many fireworks that it just ruins the entire Foster's building. Even though my knowledge of remembering this episode back then is that I think that he used too many fireworks, but at the same time, the fireworks / pyro wasn't really that big, and the concert or auditorium or whatever you want to call it is the only place that Blue ends up using fireworks / pyro. This is literally a cop-out on making the ending revert back to characters splitting up and not giving Blue any nuance on character development. Regardless if that's the gimmick of what Fosters do for every ending, Blue didn't really use a lot of fireworks throughout this entire episode up until the end, so it just makes me question, when did this whole pyro thing became Blue's thing? Like, at this point, an invisible guitar going na, or basically forming a band with Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco was basically what we've witnessed throughout this entire episode, and then when we only get pyro at the end, that is the result of reverting everything back to normal. I don't believe that, since not only the pyro wasn't really that huge that it would cause fires on anything in the concert, but the fact that it only happened in one location. Truthfully, if I didn't sit through this episode and just review it when it comes to my knowledge of watching this episode back then, I would have missed this detail. But since that this episode was the one that I didn't sit through the most upon coming back to this show, honestly, sitting through this in preparation for this review is really for the best. Seriously, where were the fireworks coming from that really made the building catch on fire? Because it has never been brought up until the end during the concert involving 3 bands, and there was no way you can convince me that Blue was into fireworks and pyro throughout this episode when you show me that he was into forming a band despite his less knowledge and cooperation with Wilt, Eduardo, and Coco. At this point, there's more of a reason as to why I don't enjoy Battle of the Bands episodes, because whenever I remember Crescent Girls, Rainbow Rocks, that is turning 11 later this month, it's becoming less character-driven outside of Sunset Shimmer, well, the music just doesn't make up for it. Speaking of which, the 2 songs from Eduardo, Coco, and Wilt is supposed to be humorous and cool, and the song by Pizza Party is supposed to be the highlight, which I somewhat remember fondly, but at this point, there's a reason onto why songs don't really make up an episode or movie for me anymore. I'm really sorry if you guys enjoy aspects of that, but do you really think that that's just going to save the episode or movie for me? Because it's not giving me the impression that forming a band is difficult to accomplish, considering that Wilt, Eduardo, and Coco managed to succeed that without Blue's help. Honestly, with them reaching second place is just a showcase of just making Blue more pathetic than he needs to be. Well, that's all 5 episodes for this 3rd week of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And if Nani.the.tigress requested me to do another week of this, it'll be part of my 2026 plans, along with anyone else requesting me to do another weekly Peoples or basically any other project when it comes to Patreon for 2026, because I have a lot going on through the rest of this year, especially the 2 reviews later this month in September along with Halloween reviews in October, but not a lot, and Christmas reviews in December, in favor of not doing them last year. By the time I'm recording this, I haven't made any progress when it comes to times 3 marathon of Crick of the Creek, OKKO, and We Bear Bears. And the progress that I made from those is mainly fanfic readings off of my 2 current ongoing fanfics. That just shows how much I'm so stressed and lazy that I really need to take a break, to the point that it's literally the only way for me to get back into the mood to make multiple videos based off of them when I get the chance. But less said about that the better. I'm giving this episode a 5.25 out of 10.